Hey guys, it's CCG. I'm going to be doing something different. I'm going to be making some bread, but it's just not any ordinary bread. It's Ezekiel bread because first of all, I'm diabetic and I want to have a bread that is more beneficial for my health. So here are some of the ingredients that I have. I purchased some organic barley flour. I have 2 bags of this right here. As you can see, now I have to use lentils in the recipe. So before I even do anything, I'm going to have to cook these lentils and mash them. That goes into the recipe as well. Then I have some millet flour, organic millet flour. And I had bought a grinder because I thought I was going to have to grind it, but it came already ground. So that defeated the purpose. But I'm going to keep my grinder just in case. It's like for grains and things. So, but I'm going to keep that and I'll use it for a future recipe. Okay, so I also have this sprouted spelt flour. Now, I know one of the flours calls for like 8 cups. I might take 2 cups away and maybe add 2 cups of this into it. And to add to, as far as it being a healthy flour. And then we will go from there. The recipe also calls for organic rye flour, and it also calls for the whole wheat flour. So, and I also have some yeast to make this recipe. Now, I've not really used yeast too much in my baking, so I'm going to step out of my comfort zone and try something different. Also, I have to use some honey in this recipe as well. I guess to give the bread a little bit of sweetness to it, but not too sweet. But we'll see how things go along. Okay, guys, so the first step we're going to do, I'm going to pour out 2 cups of these dry lentils, and then I will put them in the pot to boil until they're done. Okay, so I already put 2 cups of lentils in here and some water, so I'm going to let them cook until they get very soft, and then I will have to blend them with water. The next step after the lentils are done cooking, I will drain them and then I will put some into my blender with just a little bit of water. It said to measure off 1.5 cups of water, but not to use the whole amount of water. And then you have to put 4 to 6 tablespoons of the olive oil. So I'm going to get started with that process. Okay, so I blended some of the lentils. I need to get a larger blender, but I'm just going to use this one for right now. So I just added actually I think I had it wrong. It's a teaspoon of 4 to 6 teaspoons. So right now I just added 1 teaspoon of the extra virgin olive oil. So I'm going to continue because it's just not enough room. So I have to do it again. Okay, guys, so I have all the lentils blended together with water and oil. It doesn't look very appetizing right now. I'm not even going to say what it looks like. So just stay with me and you will see the end result. Okay, so the next step, I already just added 1/2 cup of water. The recipe calls for 2 1/4 packets of the yeast. So I put 2 and I blended them together. The next step is to add 1 tablespoon of honey, and I have some local honey that I purchased where I live, and I'm going to add 1 tablespoon without getting it all over the place. Okay. And I guess this will just add a little sweetness to the bread. Just make sure you get it all out of there. Okay, so now I'm just going to sit here, blend the honey with the water and the yeast. Okay, after you finish stirring it up and blending it, let it sit on the side for 10 minutes. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to add all the flours. So I have to do 8 cups of this whole wheat flour. Okay, so I have the 8 cups of the whole wheat flour in the bowl. So I'm going to go to the next flour. Okay, guys, so here is the monstrosity of, I guess, dough, as you want to call it. This Ezekiel bread monstrosity. Let me tell you, this was the most challenging thing ever to do in my life. I didn't get to film all of what I was trying to do, but as you can see, it done turned into a big blob inside this bucket thing. I had bought this little pail because looking at the ingredients and how much flour it asked for, it was a lot. And not only that, the measurements in the recipe was off. As I put, they only called for like you had to put water, a cup and a half for the lentils. Well, they said to mash it, but I said, forget all that. I'm just going to go ahead and just use the blender and do it, put the water, oil in it together. So that's what I did. So as I'm adding like all the flours that were mixed together, I took 2 cups and I put it in there, put the lentils, stirred, and I didn't use my mixer because my mixer would have been broken. It would have broke my mixer. You probably would have seen smoke and everything else. And I'm called the fire department because with this dough I'm looking at right now, it would have broke. So I went on and did the old pioneer days. Took a wooden spoon and got to just, stirring it up and trying to fold it over. And it was something else to say the least. So anyway, I ended up not having, it wasn't moist enough. It was like crumbs. So I just kept adding water. Once I add 2 cups, stir, lentils, stir, flour, stir. So it was just going back and forth from that point on. So now, as you see in this bucket, now I had made 6 loaves. Now it's a big conglomerate of a mountain on a molehill here. So I'm just going to let this video be for entertainment purposes only because I don't know how this is even going to taste. I kneaded it with my hands because by the time I got done stirring all of that, I was spent. Okay? I was spent and I'm tired and exhausted. I was going to heat up the food from last night. I don't even have the energy to do that. I sent my husband out to get me a sub, and that's what it's going to be tonight. So I will show you the results, and I'm going to have to, it's about, it's rising really good here, but now everything is a big mess. So I'm going to put this big mess in these loaves pans because I got like 4 of them, but it looks like I can probably make about 8 of them looking at this bucket right about now. So stay tuned and we will get into this video. All right, guys, here goes the hardtack bread. It was a very, very tedious job, stirring and stirring and stirring it. And they had a section where you had to, after you let it rise and all that crap, they said for you to oil the pan and let it rise again and knead it again. I was not doing that. My arms are tired and they feel like jello. So I took out one of the loaves and actually it doesn't look too bad after you turn it upside down. So I'm going to taste it and I'll let you know. Okay, guys, so I tasted the bread. I put a little butter on it. It don't taste too bad. I just, it's more of a fibrous, grainy type bread. So I'm just waiting for it to cool off some more so I can put them in loaf bags and then stick them in the freezer. I'm probably just going to put this one in a Ziploc bag for, whenever I want to eat some bread. But I think this type of bread would be more beneficial for me as a diabetic versus white bread. Of course, white bread tastes good because it's made with flour and all that, and it's really soft and good and all of that, but I need to find a better alternative. Well, guys, I'm finally finished with the bread and I'm exhausted. So it looked all cracked up on the top. I did not care. I was not kneading it again. So I think in that recipe, there were some steps that were missing. And as I scrolled, like it asks for, like, you had to cook 2 cups of lentils. And then you had to like blend them with some water and oil. So in the recipe, it was telling you what to do, but it never told you what to do with the lentils. That was problem number 1. Then problem number 2, I noticed. Now, in all that flour that I used to make the bread, it only asks for a tablespoon of honey. I would have added some more because that was a lot of flour that I had to, incorporate to make this bread. And so it wasn't too bad. I think I would like to have sweetened it up a little bit more. It's a heavy bread, so it'll fill you up. So I ate it anyway. And I'm going to eat it because all of those ingredients that I bought, they're all organic flour. So, you know how much that costs. So I'm just going to eat it. And I might have to put some jelly, jam, apple butter, something butter. But I'm going to eat it anyway. So it was a lesson learned. It was my first time doing yeast. So I hope that you found this whole video very entertaining. Look, I don't try to be perfect in my videos. I just want to be me, be original. Yes, sometimes things don't always go the way we planned them, but hey, that's how life is. And you just learn how to roll with the punches and go from there. So if you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on your post notifications. I hope that you all have a blessed evening and a good night and a good day tomorrow. God bless. Peace.